Minecraft hardcore. I have a love-hate relationship with this. I've never been able to stay committed to world, so this is supposed to be the perfect game mode for me because when I die, I have an excuse on why I don't have to play the world anymore. But I don't know what it is about hardcore that makes me not get bored of it, so when I end up dying, I just get really sad. It's been a while since I've played hardcore though, so I thought, hey, why not give the 100-day video a shot? So I did, and I survived, so here it is. Day 0, the creation of the world. Like I said, I never commit to any of my worlds, so I'm used to creating them. Of course, everyone knows the basics: get wood, get tools, and survive. I spawned in, mined some wood, and got my tools as fast as possible. I hate the nighttime. I looked for sheep because I really wanted to get to bed as soon as possible. I really didn't want to survive the night outside. I found them and killed them. Yes, I know, so sad. He kills animals. Yeah, I do. I needed the wool, okay? I ended up using the rest of the day to explore and find a place to stay. I didn't want to be homeless for too long. I found a cave in a birch forest and set up shop there. I placed my bed and went to sleep. The next day, I got up and wanted to be productive. My goals at this point were 1. Get armor, 2. Make a wheat farm, 3. Make a cow farm, and 4. Don't die. I started the day mining some iron in the cave. With that iron, I made a shield because it was the only protection I had at this point. I went outside and started making a small wheat farm so I could start bringing cows to my base. I wanted to get leather as fast as possible because I wanted to get an enchanting table. While waiting for my wheat to grow, I went into my cave and started making a staircase down because I wanted to avoid caves. I ended up finding a cave and well, it was right in front of me, okay? I had to. I got a good amount of iron and coal and headed back up to my base. I sprouted my iron and made some iron armor. On day 2, I went outside and found an enderman. Don't ask me why, but my first instinct was to put him in a boat. I spent the rest of the day mining a bunch of trees and terraforming to clear a good enough area. I spent the beginning of day 3 doing the same thing because the area wasn't big enough. I harvested what I had in my farms and made it bigger. At this point, I realized that I had wheat, but I didn't have a place to put my cows, so I started to work on a cow pen. This took a lot more wood than I thought, so I had to go mine some more oak trees. I started off day 4 adding a roof to the pen. Now I didn't have enough cobblestone, so I had to go back into my cave to mine some. I only got as much as I thought I needed, and then I went back up. On day 5, I finished adding the roof and lit up the pen. Since I had everything ready, I set off to try to find some cows. Finding cows took a lot longer than I expected, but I still found them. When I got home, I made an axe and cut down the oak trees I had planted earlier. Since I had the cow and wheat farms already, all I had to do was wait for both of them to grow. I went into my staircase and went down to Y11 because I wanted to find both a spawner and diamonds. I ended up finding diamonds, so I got the 3 that I needed for a pick and went back to my staircase to add stairs so that it would be faster going up. It was nighttime when I came out of my cave, so I took advantage of it and did some lighting up. On day 7, I walked into my house and saw I needed more storage, and I added a chest into my room. I saw the beehives on my oak trees ready to be harvested, so I mined some sand so I could make some glass bottles. I had never gotten honey before, so I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know the bees were gonna get mad, so I just ran away for a bit and they ended up forgetting about me. It was easy, so I harvested the other beehive and did the exact same thing. I expanded my sugarcane farm because aside from the leather, I also needed a lot of paper. After breeding my cows, I headed back to the mine to make an actual strip in the strip mine. After finding the diamonds, my only goal was to find a spawner because I needed the levels in order to use an enchanting table. On day 8, I found more diamonds and I also found a cave at the dead end, but there was still ore, so I couldn't complain. I found another cave at the dead end, but the road lagged and I saw another cave behind the wall, so I mined towards it. It wasn't cheating, okay? It wasn't my fault the chunks didn't load correctly. I found a mine shaft and I got my hopes up because I know cave spider spawners are very common in them. I saw a lot of cobwebs, which meant one thing: I found my reward. I cleared up the cobwebs and lit up the area so spiders wouldn't spawn. I went back home to prepare for the spawner because I needed a lot of other things. After waking up, I started smelting all of the ore I had mined on my way to the spider spawner. To pass time while everything smelted, I made axes and started cutting down more trees. I wanted a bigger wheat farm, so I made a plot of land that I could use. Once I saw the sun going down, I bred my cows and went back to sleep. At this point, I already had a spawner and both farms I needed, so I just wanted to wait. I made a fishing rod and headed out to the lake near my cave. 2 minutes into fishing, I realized how easy it would be for a creeper to stick behind me and blow me up, so I wanted to make a platform for it. Basically just a beam of logs. On day 11, I harvested my farms, bred my cows, and then went back to fishing, which I spent the whole day doing. On day 12 to 13, I did the exact same thing. I went back to fishing. I turned on shaders because I was curious how it looked, and I harvested in my farms and bred my cows. On day 14, I got bored of fishing, so I cut down all the oak trees that had grown. I wanted to make my area bigger, so I deforested more of the birch forest. I made a square oak tree farm so that it was more compact and didn't take a lot of space. After I bred my cows, I brutally murdered all of them. On day 15, I had a good amount of leather, so instead of waiting for other cows to grow, I went out and tried to find some myself. I found a couple, well enough to give me 11 leather. On day 16, I found a couple more cows in swamps, so I harvested the vines. On day 17, I got lost, but I remembered the coordinates of the spider spawner, so I just went back to it so I could use the strip mines to get back home. I used all the leather to craft the books that I needed to craft the enchantment table. I went back to the strip mine to get obsidian and 2 more diamonds in order to craft it. I had 30 levels, so I just placed it next to my room because I wanted to use it. On day 18, I got fortune 3 on my second enchant, so I went back down to the strip mine and mined all the diamonds I saved. I got 17 diamonds. I wanted to get back to level 30 again to enchant something else, so I went back into the nether to get nether quartz because that was the fastest way I knew how. I got up to level 29 and went back home because I didn't take any gold armor and I got scared. When I got home, it was day 19 and there was meat for me to cook, and I remembered that furnaces also gave you XP, so I cooked it. I harvested my farm while I waited for the meat to cook. I got to level 30 and wanted to get efficiency 4 on a pick so I could use it as a beater, but I just got unbreaking 3. I took the unbreaking 3 down into the mines and mined a lot of obsidian because I wanted to stock up so I could make a lot more portals in the future. On day 20, I started preparing to make the spawner by getting a bunch of pickaxes, wood, and a couple of water buckets. I spent the next couple of days making this because I had a ravine right next to it that was full of water and made things go way slower. I'll put a link in the description of the tutorial I used for this farm. On day 21, I tried fixing it, but since I broke the torches in the farm, it was hard to fix with all the cave spiders already spawning. I tried so many times to fix it and ended up almost dying twice. After I actually did fix it, I ended up decorating the killing chamber. Day 22. I realized that it was probably smarter to put the enchantment table near the spawner, so I went back home to break it and rebuild the shelves. After putting in the table, I wanted more safety in the room, so I made an iron trapdoor and 2 buttons. I had almost no room in my inventory or chest, so I ended up breaking one of the walls to make a room for storage. Day 23 to 25 was spent going AFK while finishing decorating the whole spawner room. On day 26, I wanted to farm for my vines, so I made a little beam that I could plant them on. I saw my cows looked hungry, so I went ahead and bred them even though I didn't really have the need for them anymore. With one of the beater picks that I made for my AFK session, I went down to expand the staircase because I wanted it to be wider. I also mined 1 block on top because I wanted the ceiling to be bigger. On day 27, I cut down the little oak farm I made and also harvested my sugarcane. I still needed sugarcane because I needed a way to get emeralds in the future, and I thought sugarcane would have been a pretty easy farm because I already had one. I started to get a lot of stuff ready because I wanted to make more pens for more animals. I started to work on the second pen, which I almost finished by the end of the day, but I had to go to sleep because I didn't want to risk a creeper coming out of nowhere. On day 28, I finished the roof with the second pen. I ended up finishing the third pen with a little time to spare for the day. I got shears and harvested my vines for the first time. On day 29, I made some lanterns to finish lighting up my pens. When I walked outside, I realized I had left some logs in the leaves of my oak farm, so I tried looking for them because it was starting to annoy me just hanging there. After I broke the logs, I replanted the saplings because I still wanted more wood. I didn't have any potatoes or carrots, so the only 2 animals I could get were chickens and sheep, so I went out to look for them and ended up finding sheep. I found the second one at nighttime, so I was rushing to make it home. On day 30 to 32, I harvested the vines again, and with the vines, I started to make mossy cobblestone and stone bricks. I made them into stairs so I could start decorating my mine. With the oak logs that I had been harvesting, I set up pillars on the side of my stairs to add depth. I really needed more storage, so I chose a place in the cave to start mining out because I wanted to make a pretty big storage area. On day 33, I finished mining the main area, so I started to put oaks there so it would look like the roof is being held up. I made the floor with an oak log outline and filled the middle with birch planks. On day 34, I started clearing out the area I wanted to place my chest at and filled it with oak planks because I didn't want to see the stone in between the cracks of the chests. I finished putting in the chest and I thought the floor needed more variety, so I added some smooth stone blocks around the birch. I started day 35 by making a path so I knew how big I could make my wheat farm. Once I had the path in place, I started making my wheat farm bigger. I wanted to have enough wheat to not have to depend on my animals for food, and I spent the rest of the day doing that. On day 36, I picked up where I left off. I ended up getting into the size I wanted and then fenced it off. I started mining out a little stone brick path around the farm because I thought it'd look good. While my cobblestone was smelting, I saw I didn't have a lot of iron, so I went back into my mine shaft to look for some. I found a huge ravine and felt pretty confident to explore it. On day 37 and 38, I spent the whole time exploring and got a lot of iron and other ores. On day 39, I decided I was ready to go look for the Nether fortress, and if you want to see my journey live, or somewhat live, well, while I was playing, go check out the video I made. It'll be in the description. Day 40 through 46 were spent in the Nether. I spent so long in the Nether. The whole Nether exploration took a lot longer than I wanted to. I almost died twice, and that wasn't the best feeling. The first was lava, and the second was fall damage. I was going in one direction, so it wouldn't be that hard to go back to the portal, but I ended up straying away and I gave up. I hate the fact that I found the Nether fortress on my way back to the overworld, but hey, at least I found it. I explored, had some close encounters with the blaze and wither skeletons, but I got my blaze rods, so I was happy. I don't want to go all the way to the Nether portal and look for it, so I used the obsidian that I had and went to the overworld, which wasn't the best idea because I was so far away from my house, but I ended up making it back. On day 47, I spent the first half of the day sorting all the things in my inventory into the chest and fixing things. I spent the rest of the day working on the stone brick path around my farm. In the morning, I kept expanding my farm when I saw the oak farm was fully grown, so I went to go harvest it. I saw I had a good amount of oak, so I started actually making a platform for fishing. I started with a staircase and then made a little path so I could make a house. I left a couple logs in the tree so I could break them. On day 49, I fenced off the side so I wouldn't fall off. I thought an oak slab and glass roof would look nice, so I had to go get sand so I could start smelting it. I put the sand in the furnace and used stone bricks to fill in the hole I had made for the stone brick path. On day 50, I filled in the roof with glass, and also made a hole in the floor so I could put glass there too. I wanted to have the house decorated, so I made some barrels and put them on the left wall and put my furnaces and a bed there. My wheat and sugarcane farm were both fully grown, so I harvested both, which was really satisfying. I spent the entirety of day 51 clearing out the area to the right of my cave so I could make a huge wheat farm. On day 52, I cleared out flowers and filled in the little ponds of water so I could have more space for the wheat. I bred my cows again and brutally murdered all of them for the second time. On day 53, my pickaxe was about to break, so I went into my strip mine to enchant another one and make and enchant a diamond chestplate. I don't know what happened on day 54. On day 55, I went back to the strip mine and enchanted a diamond sword. This was the best enchant I could get because it one-shot all of the spiders that were grouped up. On day 56, I broke the boat my Enderman was in because the Enderman left me. And in my notes, I put a frowny face. I did a little more terraforming and started setting up my path so I knew how big I could make my farm. I started putting in the holes of water and started to till the land. I tried to do this as efficiently as possible, but there was probably a better way to do it. I spent all of day 57 finishing the farm. On day 58 through 61, I connected the two paths so I could start seeing how everything was going to fit together. I wanted to set up a path to the top of the cave so I could make an area for the little village. There was an ugly hole to the side of the hill, so I had to fill it in because it looked ugly. I had to fill in a little lake too. Since the hill was full of birch trees, I had to do a little deforesting. Don't even get me started on how much wood I got from this whole forest. After realizing how many days in I was, on day 62, I wanted to get started looking for the things I needed to go to the end. This was about half day. I went into the Nether because I needed more ender pearls, and I know endermen spawn a lot in that blue biome. I killed a couple endermen and then headed back home because I forgot golden armor. On day 63 through 67, instead of going back to the Nether, I wanted to get a full set of diamond armor just to be safe. I went strip mining and ended up getting a lot of diamonds. After crafting the armor, I went to my cave spider spawner and grinded until I got all the enchantments and levels that I needed. On day 68, after harvesting my farm, it was dark, so I spent the night lighting up the area on top of the cave that I cleared earlier. On day 69, I finished harvesting my other two farms and did some more lighting up. On day 70, I did the exact same thing, except I waited for the night because I wanted to get phantom membranes to get slow falling potions for the end. On day 71 and 72, I realized I missed getting the nether warts to the first two trips, so I went back to the nether to get the warts. When I got back to the overworld, I started to craft the brewing stand and work on the potions. When I got everything, I started to record just like I did with the nether, and just like with the nether, the video will be in the description. On day 73 through 72, I found the dungeon under the mesa biome, which was really cool because I like the clay, so I'm gonna have fun making a base with that. The stronghold was weird because it was split up by a ravine, but I ended up finding the portal anyways. When I got to the ender dragon, I was really nervous, but then again, I overly prepared for the fight. The end dragon was easier than I thought. The thing that scared me the most about the end was finding elytra because when you make a bridge across the islands and fall, there's no going back. After 2 hours and 2 different entities, I ended up finding the elytra and headed home. On day 78, I dumped out my stuff into the chest and headed to my spawner because I needed a new pickaxe since mine was almost broken. Once day 79 reached, I wanted to get mending, so I crafted a lectern and got all the sugarcane that I had. Day 80 through 87, I spent this whole time exploring. Since I had a lot of food, I had no problem with going far from my house. I ended up finding a village in a spruce forest and set up shop. It took me a long time to find mending, and by a long time I mean like 6 Minecraft days. I made a little area for the villagers so that they wouldn't die. On day 88 through 90, after combining my book with my pickaxe, I connected a portal to the nether so I could make a path home. I didn't want to travel in the overworld because of how long it took me to get there in the first place. It was a long way back to the portal and I had to make a little cobblestone mine under the village so I could get more blocks. After tunneling in the nether and getting lost a couple times, I found my portal and started working on my huge sugarcane farm because I needed a faster way to get emeralds. Day 91 through 95. This is a really boring end, but I need to do this for future plans. I started by mining in a straight line until I thought it was long enough, and then I expanded the walls. I didn't know how big I wanted it, so I just kept expanding until I got bored and then mined the floor. If I was going for looks, I probably would have filled the floor in with sand, but I didn't care enough, so I just filled it in with dirt. Day 95 through 100. I made the pattern of water in a way that maximized the area of sugarcane, but because of this, it took longer to make. I spent this time mining out the dirt, filling it in with water, and placing the sugarcane after every row or so I could see how to do the next couple of holes. I ran out of sugarcane at some point, so I waited for it to grow, and at this point, I harvested some vines and made some mossy blocks. I spent this time decorating the cave and made it look slightly better. Once I finished decorating, the sugarcane had grown. After a lot of making holes, placing water, slabs, and sugarcane, and I mean by a lot, I finished the farm. And that was it. The end of the 100 days. I'm sorry the ending wasn't more exciting, but I had to spend this time preparing for the long game, so I hope you enjoyed. I'll probably be doing a 300 or 500 day update if I don't end up dying, so stay tuned for that. Have a good rest of your day.